Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. And it's Tuesday, and I hope you've been having a great start to the week. Welcome to How to Set Up Your Small Business. And I'm so happy that you're here and that you've given up this time today to invest in yourself. So it's going to be a great day. It's a 2-hour session. So there's going to be quite a bit that I'll need to cover within the 2 hours. We're going to be taking a break at the top of this hour for 10 minutes. It'll be the only break because it's only a short webinar. And then we will continue and commence with the rest of the webinar. So my name is Carol Allen, and I'm your host for today. So I'll be taking you through the webinar. I'm really happy to be here and excited about the information that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So we're going to be looking at, how you actually set up your small business, because a lot of people just don't know how to do it. So we're going to be looking at various parts of how, and we're going to be taking it step by step. So we're going to be looking at the legal side, we're going to be looking at the marketing side, we're going to be looking at the business side of it, and what you need to bring together. And even the mindset and how you need to reframe, how you're thinking in order to start this business. Because starting a business is one thing, but being an entrepreneur and being able to manage and sustain and maintain that business is another thing. So we're going to be looking at, all the ramifications that actually surrounds that, so that we can ensure that you come away today knowing exactly what you have to do to start. So let me just give you a little bit of background about me. So as I said, my name's Carol Allen. So I've been in further education for 25 years. And my last role, I've had many roles, but the last role was a principal. So, when I left education, I then went on to start my own training school. And then that was teaching post-16 students molecular science, where I worked with government contractors as well as private contractors as well. So I had an absolutely amazing time in my career. I then decided that I wanted to do something else. And, I had that business for about 10 years. So it was quite a long time. And then I decided that I wanted to do something else. So I went and started a couple of, different types of e-commerce stores online, because I wanted to understand the online space. At the time, the online space was the place to be, even more so now. So then I decided to open up a couple of e-commerce stores. And then after that, I decided that I wanted to become a business coach. So obviously, I've been in education, being a principal and so on. I decided that I wanted to work with principals and teachers, and I showed them how to transition out of the classroom into their own businesses. So that's what I did for a while. And then I decided that I wanted to do something different again. So here I am at Wenta, and I'm sharing, we'll be sharing with you today from my personal experiences, and also from, what I've taught my clients, the things that I've done and what I know, the knowledge and the training that I've had. So you're going to get firsthand experience today. So let's talk a little bit about what's going to be happening today. So this particular webinar is being recorded. You will get a copy of all the slides and also the webinar itself. It's all completely free. It's also CPD certified, which means that you can use this towards continuous professional development. Now, you will only get the certification if you stay till the end. If you have to leave halfway through or near to the end, then unfortunately, you only qualify for the certification if you stay right through to the very, very end. Okay, so you will, as I said, you will get a break at the top of the hour for 10 minutes. It will be the only break because this is a very, very short webinar. And then we will then aim to conclude for about 4 o'clock today. So that's what's going to happen. So let me tell you a little bit about Wenta. So Wenta's been around now for 40 years, very, very long time. And we've started all our celebrations already. We started celebrating back on I think it was the 11th of September, I think it was. And we went down to the House of Parliament, where some of us met up with MPs, and, we put on a little event down there and introduced them to Wenta. So we have got offices in Stevenage. I'm based in the Stevenage office, Enfield, Watford, and Potters Bar. We rent out virtual desks, offices, and workshops. And, you know, if you're looking for an office, if you've got like a small business and you're looking for an office or a desk, you know, you want to get away from home and you just want somewhere professional to be, we've got what you call the incubator here in Stevenage, if you're around the Stevenage area. We've also got offices, you know, across Enfield, Watford, and Potters Bar. So, you know, if there's anything there that suits you, then, you know, you'd be very, very welcome to take up one of our spaces, which is what we're offering at a certain price. You'd need to contact the centre to find out what the price is per month. All of our car parking facilities are completely free. And we also offer a mailing service as well, which is from £45 right through to £58.50 per month, depending on the service that you want to use. So we offer a virtual address. I highly recommend that. If you started your business already, you know, it's more professional to have a professional address than it is to be using your home address. So, you know, if you're a limited company, you don't want everybody in the world knowing where you live, do you? So the virtual addresses are £13 plus VAT. So you can contact the business advisory office or reception to find out, you know, how you can qualify for that. So we also offer one-to-one Zoom meetings, face-to-face meetings, and telephone meetings where you can talk to us about your business, and you know, we can kind of help you to underpin whatever is going on in your business. And these training webinars that I'm doing like now are completely free. So that's the kind of thing that we do. We are a social enterprise, so we're a not-for-profit company. So everything that we get, that we make in this business, we plow it back into the business so that we can give you, the small business owner, a much better learning experience and offer you a wider range of support services that's going to help you to, you know, get your business moving in the right direction. All of our advisors here are qualified experts. You know, we're highly experienced. We have a wealth of knowledge amongst us. I don't know how many years, there's just so many years amongst us. So, and we've got great perspective on business and, you know, what you do online and so on. So, you know, it's great what we do, and it would be good for you, the small business owner, to tap in to what we're doing here at Wenta. And if at any point that you'd like to book an appointment with me or any of the other small business advisors, then feel free to reach out to us. I'll just put the number in the chat a little bit later on. But before I do that, can you all tell me where you are coming in from? What part of the world are you coming in from if you're out of the UK? Or, you know, what part of the UK are you in if you're in the UK? So it'd be great to know what country you're coming in from. And also let me know where you are on your business journey. Are you at the pre-start level? Are you at the advanced level? So you've been in business for a while, a number of years, or have you just started over the last few months? So it'd be great to know. So I'm going to remove myself from the screen, and you will hear my voice, but you won't see my face, because I want you to focus on what's going to be going on right now on these PowerPoint presentation slides. Right, so let me just say hello to each one of you that are here today. So hello, Esther, Curtis, Locke, nice to see you. Maria, Paz, Priyan, lovely to have you here today. And Richard, very nice to have you. So let me know where you're coming in from. So Priyan's from Watford, pre-start. Richard is Worthing, moved to the UK 10 years ago from Hungary. Nice to have you here, Richard. Curtis, hi Curtis, how are you? Let us know where you're coming in from, Curtis, and are you at the pre-start level, or where are you? Locke says Kentucky, USA. I'm a business advisor. So Locke, I would be very interested to know what you do as a business advisor, because that's what I'm doing here at Wenta, where, we're net zero business advisors. So tell me some of the kind of things that you do, Locke, in your day job. So Curtis says North London. And Curtis, have you started a business, or are you at the pre-start level? Where are you? Maria says, hello, I'm coming from Croydon. Hi, Maria. I was actually in Croydon around 2.5 weeks ago. So Maria's at the pre-start level. Okay, that's great. Curtis, North London. Yes, I think I got that, Curtis. But what do you do? So, okay, so Curtis says he's gone out and done some little bits for free. So just starting. Okay. So let me know in the chat what kind of business you're interested in. So Curtis says it's to do with camera, filming, football matches. That's really interesting, Curtis. So what do you do then, Curtis? Do you go to different league games and film what's going on the pitch? Is that what you do? And then do you put it online? What do you do with it? That's very interesting. I've never heard that before. So AstroTurfs at the moment, 7 aside. I am targeting. Oh, okay. But how will you turn it into a business? I think that's what I'm trying to find out. What will you do to turn this into a business, or is this not the business? So Priyan says sports scouting app. You're thinking of creating an app. That's very interesting. We've got quite a lot of clients that's created apps. So Curtis is saying 5 pp charge. I don't know what 5 pp is, Curtis. Film and send them the recording with goal highlights. What? So you take the photos and then you send the photos of the match to people? Is that what you mean? Right. So what about the rest of you? Let me know what you're doing. So Esther, let me know where you're at on your business journey. Locke, where are you? Have you started a business? Or is this like just some information on, you just wanted to know how to start? Paz, it would be nice to hear from you as well. So, Richard, where are you on your business journey? That would be nice to know. Right, okay, so it's recording. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. I've not heard of that before. That's really, really interesting, Curtis. Okay, so let's have a look at a little bit of information about the virtual office. And then we're going to go into the start of our webinar. So this is just some information for you on what the virtual office is about, and if it's something that you're wanting to do. It may not be here at Wenta, it could be anywhere, but this is really what a virtual office is, and this is the benefits of the virtual office that we offer here at Wenta. And these are just the features and services. So if you want to know a little bit more about what we do, then do reach out to us. So let's have a look now at how to set up your small business. And here's the learning objectives that you will come away knowing more about in your business, for your business. So, at the ending of this particular webinar, you should be able to show the knowledge and understanding of different legal entities, for starting up a business. And you should be able to explain the advantages and disadvantages of each of these, entities as well. So you'll be able to select, evaluate, and interpret the use of information that I'm going to be delivering today, and to identify and comply with relevant trading legislation, as well as being able to look at what constitutes as best practice. So you should also be able to present a conclusion about the pros and cons of self-employment, which is what we're going to look at as well. And, looking at how to apply those specified terms, the theories and concepts effectively to devise and implement processes for managing your time, tasks, people, and risks. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And this is what we're expecting that you will come away knowing. So this is the webinar content. So I am going to spend a little bit of time right here on this particular slide. Before I move forward, I just want to pull off some bits and pieces right here. So, you know, we're going to be looking at one of the things that I really want to talk about is a limited company, because there's a lot of people that wants to know what is the difference between a sole trader and a limited company. A lot of people ask that question. So that's something that, you know, I'm quite happy to share today, and I would like to do it right now at the start, and then we'll elaborate on it a little bit more, you know, as we get sort of towards the back end of this webinar. So just to give you a little bit of background, I don't know if there's anybody here who has already got a limited company, or you're planning on setting up as a limited rather than a sole trader. Is there anybody here that's thinking about the limited side? So a limited company basically, you know, has got its benefits, and I'm going to share those with you. So Richard is saying yes. Okay, thanks for that, Richard. So a limited company, you know, it's the ownership of the company itself is split. Now, what do I mean by that? So let me give you an example, because the moment you put limited at the end of whatever the name of your company is, it's automatically not you, it's the company. So let's just say, so Richard, you said that you are thinking about becoming a company, a limited company. So let's just say Richard decided that he wanted to use his own name. So Richard Vajda Limited. So Richard Vajda Limited is a company. Now, if Richard can still use his name, not a problem with that. He's going to limited his name. So his company will be Richard Vajda Limited, but then he is Richard Vajda. So he is different to Richard Vajda Limited. Now, that might sound a little bit peculiar, but that's how it is. The moment you put limited at the edge of whatever it is that you're limiting, you're calling a limited company, then you have separated yourself from that, even though you are the owner of the company. But legally, anything that happens within that company, you know, they're going to look at the company. So they're going to look at what Richard Vajda Limited has been doing. So you're kind of split in the middle into equal parts. So you could also have a different name to your company. And if someone decided that they wanted to, you know, get a little bit funny and bring a claim against you, they'll be bringing a claim against the company, not against you personally. So this is why the company is a standalone and you are a standalone person, even though you own it. So that's one of the things. The other thing is you will pay corporation tax at 19%. So Richard's asking, would I be able to rent a property to live in through the limited? Hang on, let me read that again a bit slower, Richard. Would I be able to rent a property to live in through the limited? Oh, I think I know what you mean. Do you mean, would the limited company own a property if you wanted to rent it? Is that what you mean? Okay, the only way that could happen, Richard, and it wouldn't happen in the way that you're thinking it would happen. Let's just say I understand that. I'm going to come to that piece right now. Yes, I'll come to that right now, Richard. Let's just say you got the property, and the property, you were going to use it solely for business purposes. So it was a building that was going to use only for your business, nothing else. There are portions of the space that could be offset against tax. So it wouldn't be all of the space, it would be some of it. So that's the way it would work. So you'd need to, let's just say, let me put it a different way. If you had a home office, with your home office, what would happen is part of the space of your home office would be offset against tax. So you would get a tax rebate on the back of you're using, they wouldn't give it to you for all of the space, but part of the space is being used for business purposes. So you'd get it as part. So I don't know what the figure would be because they work out the size of the space and everything. And, they do all, whatever it is that they do to get to arrive at their figures. So let me know if that answers your question. Oh, okay, great. So that's the way it works. So limited companies, they don't pay, as a limited company, you do not pay income tax. You pay corporation tax, and that tax is 19% on your profits. So your profits is money that is made after all of your fixed costs. So your rent, your rates, your telephone, your petrol, whatever it is that you're paying out, everything that's paid out, anything that's left over is profit. So you're going to pay 19% tax on those profits. So, oh, okay. Richard's saying that is the main reason I am looking to this. Oh, okay, got it. So that's how it works. So a limited company has got its benefits, but I'll be honest with you. If you are going to start a business and you're thinking to yourself, right, I'll go limited. If you're not going to earn at least 40 to 45,000 in the first year, I would say to you, go sole trader, do a sole trader. Because if you're, as a sole trader, you're going to pay 20% tax on your profit. So you're going to pay a little bit more, 1% more. But then with a sole trader, you don't have the level of commitment as you do as a limited company. And I'll explain that in a little while. So a limited company, you're gonna, if you're earning, the more you earn is the more you can offset against tax. So there's going to be lots of, benefits the more you earn. If you're earning very little and you're a limited company, you are not going to benefit from the structure of being a limited company. You may as well be a sole trader and get to a place where you're kind of 45, 50,000, and then now you can become a limited company, because anything over 51,500, you're going to be on 40% tax anyway. So, if you're a limited company at 51,000, you're still 19%. The moment you go sort of 52 right up to 125,000, you're going to be on a higher band of tax. So just bear that in mind. And this is why I think if you're going to start a business that is going to earn you at least 45, 50 plus thousand, it's better to become a limited. If you're thinking to yourself, right, well, I'm only going to start like a little side hustle, then I would say start off as a sole trader, work your way up to earning, quite a good income, or a good turnover, I should say, and then become limited. That would be my advice to you. So if your business earns between 12,570 and then 51,500, you're going to, as a sole trader, you are going to pay 20% income tax, and that's on all your profits. You're so welcome, Richard. So that's on your profits. So just remember it's the profits. So if your earning falls, in fact, I had a very, very long conversation with HMRC this morning, because I just wanted to make sure, because so many changes have occurred, and things have moved and shifted. And I just really wanted to make sure as to what the new pieces of changes were. Now, what they're saying is if you're self-employed, and you earn 12,570, then, you know, anything over £12,570 for the year, you are going to be taxed on. Now, that's the new rate that I got this morning. So if you start a business and within the first year, you come out with 12,569, you're fine. You won't have to pay anything. But the moment you go to 570, anything over that, you're going to be taxed on it. So that's the way it works. If you're doing like a little tiny side hustle, then, you know, you might not come out with hardly any profit at the ending of the first year. But maybe in your second year, you're going to come out with a bit more profit. So people will do what they want to do, and each person is going to, you know, earn different amounts of money according to what it is that they're doing. So just bear that in mind. So the tax benefits of being a limited company is it's tax efficient. You know, the structure, the setup, it's very efficient. It's 19% on the profits, as I've said. Directors can then minimize their personal tax and national insurance. Now, if you are a limited company and you are going to pay yourself a salary, you have now become an employee of your company. So, you know, although you're the one who set the company up and you want to pay yourself, because you can pay yourself two ways. You can pay yourself either through dividends or you can pay yourself through, you know, salary. And if you do pay yourself through salary, then you're going to need to get an accountant to set up payroll for you so that you become an employee of your company. And this is the information that I obtained today. So it's really important that you know this and you're clear about this. You know, so you can pay salary, you can pay dividends. Dividends are paid from any profits that you make. So it's the profits that the dividends are coming from. And dividends are, the percentage that you pay on dividends is a little bit lower than the percentage that you'd pay if you're taking a salary. So if you are a PAYE, then obviously you're going to be paying, you know, 20% on as a PAYE. So that's how it works. Dividends, it's going to be around the 8% mark. So it's a little bit lower. Some people do pay themselves more dividends, but the thing is, and this is what I was discussing with HMRC this morning, if you pay yourself more dividends on a regular basis all the time, what they told me was you're not actually contributing as much money as you should be towards your national insurance. You know, like when you're ready to retire and so on, there won't be enough money going into the pot if you pay yourself by a lot of dividends. So, you know, what they like to see, they didn't say you have to, but what they like to see is that, you know, you're kind of doing it, you know, you've got like a percentage of salary and a percentage of dividends. And from the conversation I had this morning, it sounded as though they wanted you to pay yourself less dividends. So that way you're paying more into your retirement pot, the government retirement pot for the future. So, and that was something that I, you know, as I said, I had a long 45-minute conversation this morning about all of this, because I just wanted to know what the new, you know, pieces of rules and regulations were around all of this. So that's how it works. Let me know if you're still with me. So, you know, like I said earlier on, a company director, if you're going to be paying yourself, then you are going to be an employee of the company. That's how it works. And that's what I meant when I said earlier on that, you know, you are one part of the company. So, you know, once you put the limited at the ending of whatever it is that you're going to call the company, that stands alone from you. It's separated. You will now, once you start paying yourself, you're going to be working for your own company as an employee. So that's the structure. That is the structure of it. So, a dividend is a payment, for those of you who want to know, from a limited company to a shareholder. So, and this money is the money that's remaining after all the business expenses and the liabilities, including tax, VAT, has been paid. That's what a dividend is. So Maria says, I'm here, I'm learning a lot of new stuff. Yeah. Like I said, it was a really nice conversation I had with a lovely gentleman this morning. And he was telling me all the new bits and pieces that had come out. So I was quite glad that I got all that information firsthand. We also went through a lot of information around the national insurance as well. So this is what the kind of thing that you really need to know when you're thinking about setting up your own business. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about is becoming a sole trader. So the difference between a sole trader and a limited company is that a limited company you're paying 19% tax on your profits, whereas a sole trader, it's 20%. So, but with a sole trader, you're going to have 100% risk to the business. So let's just say someone decided that, they want to accuse you of doing something wrong, then they can come after everything that you've got. With a limited company, they can only go after the limited company. They can't touch any of your anything that belongs to you, your assets or anything. But with a limited company, they can go after that. With a sole trader, they can go after your house, your car, everything. So I suppose there's higher risk and you're less secured. But when you do become a limited company, there's much more expected of you from HMRC. So Richard's asking, when it comes to tax, if the side business is making X amount, but you still have a full-time job, would the side hustle earnings be taxed separately or combined with your salary? Richard, that is a fantastic question. And I asked that question today. So you've asked the same question that I asked today. So thank you for asking that. It's a great question. And the answer that I was given was that you will be taxed separately. And the reason why they said that, the gentleman said, is because let's just say you're paying tax at 20% as an employee. But now you've got a business and the business is making more than 51 or 52,000. You're going to be taxed separately according to what you earn on that. So let me put it another way, Richard. Let's just say you're working full-time and as an employee, you pay income tax of 20% anyway. And then you had your limited company, but you were only just making, just a little bit of money, and at least you had some profit. If you had profit, even if it's profit of £20, you're going to pay 19% on £20. So whichever way, you are going to be taxed separately. That's a really great question. And I made sure that I asked that question today because a lot of people have asked us this question, and I wanted to know what the new bits and pieces of rules and regulations were around it. So that's a great question, Richard. So I hope that's helped you. Good job I asked it, isn't it? So that's how it works. So sole trader, you're going to have a little bit more risk. Limited company, you're going to have less risk. So just bear that in mind. The reason why a lot of people do go down the route of becoming a sole trader is basically because it's easy. It's an easy structure to set up. You just contact HMRC, you apply for self-assessment when you get to £1,000 in revenue, and that it's as simple as that. You get a UTR number, a unique tax reference number, and it's as simple as that. You've got to fill in the online forms to apply for self-assessment, by the way. So self-assessment is a way of how you can actually pay your tax at the ending of, the year. So with a limited company, you have to fill in, it's £12.99 to apply, to register, and you've got to fill in all the relevant forms that are online. And also, Richard, as you asked me this question, another thing that the gentleman did say to me today, he said to me that once you put in all of your earnings from your, and this is if you've got a full-time job, from your salary for your full-time job as an employee, and also from your business, he said that the calculator that's in their system online will do all the calculations for you. So you don't have to figure it out yourself, which is really good, isn't it? So they will do the figures for you as an employee, and they will do the figures for you as an entrepreneur, a sole trader, or limited company, whichever one you are. So, that's really good that you don't have to worry about, totting up and making sure it's all accurate and everything. The system does it for you and then tells you what you need to pay. You've got to put in what you've earned for the year, and then they will tell you what you owe them. So it sounds like a good setup to me. So domain names. And as I said, I'm just staying on this slide for a little while before we move on. And then we're going to continue with the rest of what we're going to talk about. So domain names, I don't know if anyone here has got a domain name that they have already thought about and that they want to use moving forward. So your domain names, the most common domain ending is .com. A lot of people tend to go for .com because .com is known, and people tend to use it a lot around the world. Some people will use .net or .co.uk if they're in the UK. Sometimes they'll use, if they're in Australia, they'll go .aus. If they are setting up as an organization, they're going to go .org. So you will decide what you want to use as a domain name. Now, if you want to check if your domain name is available, you can go to GoDaddy and check. You can go to Namecheap and check. And you can go to MailChimp. There's lots of other different providers that you can check with. So, do look at whether or not your domain name is available. I've got a client who decided that she was going to buy all the domain names for her business. She was running a pepper sauce business, and she decided that she didn't want anyone to have the name of her business. So what did she do? She went and bought every single domain name that was going, every one of them. It cost her thousands of pounds. So it's not something I'm encouraging you to do. I'm just saying it's something that some people do. They snap up all the names that has reference to their business. I'll tell you which huge company does it as well. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola does it, and Pepsi does. So they snap up all the names so no one can ever have one of their names. So anyway, lots of people do trademark the name, and if you trademark your name, then no one can use your name. That's your trademark, and you can actually do something about it. And I'm going to share a quick story with you on the trademarking bit. Because there's a particular restaurant in the area where I live that it's a beautiful restaurant. They're a Turkish restaurant, and they were called a certain name that they've been calling themselves since 2006. And they decided, that they were quite happy to plod along. They had all their branding. It was the most beautiful restaurant. They really spent a lot of money doing it out, and their branding, they look really, really slick. And, another restaurant in the same area decides that they want to call their restaurant the same name. Why? I do not know. In the same area. So what this other restaurant did, brand new restaurant, they decided that they were going to trademark the name. Once they trademarked the name, their solicitor sent the restaurant that was using the name from 2006 a letter to withdraw from using that name with immediate effect. Now, remember what I said. The restaurant had been using, the first restaurant had been using this name since 2006. We are now in 2023. And they received a letter to say they could no longer use the name because someone else had trademarked it to use it. Now, you tell me, is that fair? Is it right? I don't know. All their branding was done. All their social media pages was called this name. Everything about their business that was out there, their Instagram page, their Facebook page, everything, that's the name of their business. Now they've got to change the name. So they've changed the name, which is such a shame because everything, they even had this beautiful, very expensive sign above their restaurant with the name on, but they did not trademark the name, didn't do the trademark. So Richard's saying, how much is trademarking cost? And would that apply to a product? Yes, it would apply to a product. Or in my case, application that I'm selling and using. It would apply to a product as well. It would apply to a service. Let's just say you named a service and you use that name and that service was selling really well and that's what you wanted to call the service, but you didn't trademark it. Someone can actually pinch the name of the service that you're doing and call their own service the same name. If it's not trademarked, you can't do anything about it. So a trademark can cost anything from £250 upwards right through to £350 or £450. It depends on who you go to, and it depends on what you're trademarking. Some people will trademark the logo, maybe a slogan, you know, or a saying or a word, or you know, a particular type of service. You can trademark anything. So if I were you, anything that is dear to your heart, if you really don't want to lose it, I would trademark it before you even start your business. Because if you start your business and you've built all your branding around it, and then someone else decides, right, I want to use that name, and they go and check that it's not trademarked, and they decide they're going to do it, they're going to trademark, you will get a letter to ask you to stop from using it with immediate effect. So just bear that in mind. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the insurances, because you will all need different types of insurances for your business. The most popular is public liability insurance. Everyone needs public liability insurance for their business, but depending on what you're selling will determine what kind of other insurances you will need. So if you're in the stock market, then you're going to need some trading insurances. There's different types of trading insurances that you can use if you're in the stock market. If you're selling products, i.e. you're selling food online or clothing or whatever it is that you're selling, then you're going to need what we call product liability to protect your products. So if you're a sandwich shop, you know, you're going to need product liability to protect all the products that you're buying in order to make all the foods and things like that. So, and this is in addition to public liability. So, you know, you're going to need the relevant insurance. One of the things that a lot of people did not have during COVID, and, you know, I'm talking to a lot of business owners today and they still don't have it. I'm going to tell you what it is. The insurance is called business continuity insurance. Business continuity insurance. When you have business continuity insurance, anything that happens that stops you from trading, the insurance company will cover you for your loss. What they do, they will say, right, you have got to be out of business for 3 to 6 months, whichever one it is. And if you're not trading anytime after 3 months, then business continuity insurance will kick in. And they will pay you every single month for the amounts of money that you will lose in your business. So a lot of people during COVID didn't have this, and we were shut down for almost 2 years, if you remember. Could you imagine having a business where the insurance company is paying everything that you would have earned within that business every month? This is why a lot of small business owners went under. They didn't have that insurance. And believe it or not, a lot of small business owners still don't have the insurance today. They've not learned from their mistakes. A lot of people haven't learned because what if another COVID happened? Remember when it happened, it hit like a rocket. It was quick. There wasn't any long drawn out warnings. It was quick. And all of a sudden, we're all shut down. What if that was to happen again? Would businesses survive that aren't really protected? I don't think that they would. So that is one insurance that I would highly recommend. If you have got an e-commerce store, then I would recommend cybercrime insurance. So that's technology and cybercrime insurance, because that is going to protect you if anything happens to your business online. Remember, there's a lot of people hacking into people's websites and things. So you want to make sure that you protect that. If your business is in commercial property or residential property, whatever it is, if you're in the property market, then you're going to need to have an insurance that deals with commercial property. So do you see what I'm trying to say? Depending on what you are into, what you're selling will determine what type of insurance you have. So let's talk about the pros of self-employment. So there's some great things about being self-employed. One of the things is you don't have a boss, you're your own boss. The other thing is you have the flexibility, you can design your own job role. You can pay yourself whatever you want out of your profits if you make profits. That's going to give you a great sense of achievement, and you can run your business however you see fit. No one is going to tell you how to do it because it's yours. You've got the autonomy over what you do in the business, and you develop more passion for the business when everything is running in the right way. Now, is self-employment for everybody? I'm going to be very honest with you. The short answer is no. It's not for everybody. Not everybody is going to be able to handle being self-employed, because there are responsibilities that comes with it. And we'll go through the responsibilities a little bit later. So you need to be able to ask yourself this question, because going into business, you've got to have the right mindset. Excuse me. So when you know your why, then that's going to drive your passion. So do you know your why? This is the question for each one of you. Do you know your why? Why you want to go into business if you're not already in business? Do you know what that why is? Because when things are going a bit higgledy-piggledy, because business is never ever a straight line, sometimes you've got to go around the bend and you're curving a little, then you're going up and then down, and then round and then behind, and then you come back on the straight line. It's never a one straight line, perfect process all the way through. Lots of things happen in business that can pull you away from the focus of why you're in business. So if your why is a very, very strong why, regardless of what happens, you'll stick with the process. So do you know your why? That's the question. So going into business, it's not, it should never be about just making the money. Because if you offer a great service, you're going to make money anyway, aren't you? So it's not just about the money, it's about that other thing that happens before the money. And that other thing is called serving your customer and adding the value that you know they deserve. So you've really got to be passionate about people. If you don't like people, then you've got to ask yourself, is going into business the right thing for me to do? Because you need to like people. When I say like people, you're going to have to deal with people. There's a lot of people out there that have got funny characters and funny personalities and funny ways and, think differently to you. But you're going to have to learn how to work with these people and serve them even when you don't like them. And that's what I mean by saying, I remember when I had my very first business back in 2006, that was my very first one. That was a training school. When I had that business, there were lots of people that came in that I thought was really strange, and some people were quite irritating at times, but you've just got to learn to be professional, to be really friendly and to look at those people that they need the services that you're offering. You can't, whether you like them or not, it's irrelevant. They've come to you for a service, then it's your job to serve them. Because sometimes you can walk into a place and feel really awkward because you feel that the service that you're getting is quite poor. So you've got to be at a mindset where you're happy to work with people. So, if you're not that kind of person, then I would say, abstain from wanting to go into business. So to run your own business successfully, you need to have systems in place. So you might say, well, Carol, what do you mean by a system? Well, you might need a telephone answering machine system in place. You might need what we call a CRM system. So a system that where you've probably got employees, and when something happens and that gets imputed into your CRM, everyone within your small business will know exactly what's happening. Hospitals use CRM systems. The moment you arrive at a hospital and you go to reception and you tell them what your name is, they, punch your name into the CRM system and immediately your name pops up. They know that you've got an appointment to see Dr. So-and-so and the time and so on. And then all they've got to do is press another button. They send that information down to the relevant department and they know that you've arrived. It's called a CRM system. So, you might want to have an 0800 system running in your small business. So, instead of using your mobile phone, you can give the 0800 number to your customers. It makes it look a lot more professional, but really it's connected to your mobile phone. So, they're bypassing your mobile number, thinking that they're ringing an 0800 number, which they are, but really it's coming directly through to your mobile phone. Having an 0800 number in front of your mobile number just makes it look more professional. So we are now at the top of the hour. We're going to take a 10-minute break and then we're going to come back and aim to conclude for 4 p.m. If you've got any other questions, you can pop that in the chat box for me. So don't shut your computers down, just pause and then we'll be back in 10 minutes. Hi everyone, we're back. Okay, let me just see what you're saying in the chat. Okay, yes, we're back now. Okay, let me know if you've got any questions around the pros of being self-employed. Now we're going to look at the cons of being self-employed. So the downside, but I don't really see this as a downside. I'll tell you why. Any business that you start, you can create what you want it to be. I've got a niece who has traveled to 14 countries within the last 2 years. And she's able to do that because she's got 4 different types of online businesses and she's got 4 multiple streams of income going on. So all she needs is a laptop and internet connection, and she's always got some kind of a dongle or something going on, and that's all she needs. So she can be sat on the beach of Mexico doing her classes in whatever it is that she's doing, and her bank account is going chiking, 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 and it's not a problem. So you can create whatever you want your self-employment to look like. It's up to you. If, I know people that create a business and they will work 70 and 80 hours in the business. To me, that's not a business. That is, a glorified job that's holding you in by chains. That's not what a business is. A business is supposed to give you freedom and your time back. That's what a business is supposed to do. So, but it's going to come down to what do you want it to be. So the downside is you make all the decisions yourself, but that doesn't even have to be that, because if you join networking groups, if you do lots of different courses where you're constantly upskilling yourself, you're constantly adding value to what you do as a self-employed person, you can share ideas or share concerns with people that you meet that are business minded and like minded, and you have something in common with. So it doesn't always have to be you on your own. Loneliness. Yes, you can be in business and feel very lonely. Now, if you're running a business and you've employed people, and obviously you're the one that's at the top, it can be lonely at the top. But if you build good working relationships with people and you build in some me time into your self-employment business, you don't have to be lonely. Again, this is going to come down to how you do it. If you're the kind of person that's happy to plod along at home around your computer, and you don't get out at all, you don't go and network, you don't meet people, you don't go to any business events or nothing, then that's down to you. It's no one else. So you don't have to be lonely. There are lots of things that you can do not to be lonely. Stress, being self-employed can be very stressful. But again, you need balances in your life to help you to balance out the stress. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's always a good idea to take your lunch breaks, move away from your computer, move away from your desk, go and take the dog for a walk, go and do something that removes you from that work for the hour. Don't think to yourself, well, I can't take the hour because, time is money. Well, your health means more than money. So, you know, it's important to know how you're going to balance stress, because I'll be honest, having your own business is very stressful. But how do you balance it? Well, I'll tell you what I used to do, because I love having massage therapies, and it's something popular that a lot of men have now as well. I love to have a body massage. You know, it's great to have lovely massages, go and get your nails done, you know, have a nice pedicure, reflexology, look after yourself and make yourself feel great. You reward yourself for every good thing that happens in the business because you've worked hard for it to happen. So go and spend a bit of money on yourself to alleviate the stress. You don't have to be grinding and, you know, fighting yourself every day to get things done. You know, take some time out and just recharge your batteries and reframe your mindset and just let the stress go. Financial security, again, this is going to come down to you. You know, I say to everyone, if you don't have the money right now to start a business, don't start your business. It's better that you wait until you've got some money behind you before you can start your business. It makes more sense. It's a shame when you start your business with hardly any money in the bank, and then you find that you're going to need to buy stock and you don't have the money to buy stock. I've had many of those conversations here with people. You know, we've run out of money. You know, we don't have any money. I don't know what to do. Well, that should have been thought about before you actually started the business, really. You know, I remember when I started my first business, I was always told you're going to need at least 3 to 6 months money that covers your business just in case you don't make any money for the first 3 months. If you don't have that money in place, I would say wait until you've got it, because you know, stress is a real thing. And when you've got like something that you've got to pay for, and there's several things that you've got to pay for. If you've got an offline business, you've got your rent and your rates and all your fixed costs to worry about. If you have an online business, you've got your hosting and your software and all the other bits and pieces that you need to buy and pay for to ensure that the business online runs really well. If you don't have the money, then you've got a big problem. So Richard is saying, can mental health activities be put down as a business expense? Short answer is, Richard, you ask some amazing questions. You know, I love your line of questioning. Right. This is how I'm going to phrase the answer, Richard. There are companies out there because that they bring in specialists in order to train their workforce, and they can actually offset, you know, some of that training against tax, because it's to do with helping the business to, you know, prosper and be more healthier and, you know, reducing risk and all of that. So if you are bringing in a specialist, if you go to somewhere and you are engaging in mental health activities, I don't think you can actually do that as a business expense like that. I think it would have to be you would have to demonstrate that the business needs this particular activity. I'll tell you what an activity like that would be like. So mental health is a really good one. Let's just say you brought in somebody to deal with stress. To me, stress and mental health goes together. So the possible answer is yes, Richard, but I could see that the taxman would probably try to say no. But from how it is and how it looks, I would probably say yes, but I'm not the taxman. So, but it's a really, really good question. I think if you could prove that the training that you're bringing in to help the people within your organization is going to help to improve the productivity of the business, I think you can get around it that way, but you'd have to be able to prove it. But that's a great question. And then you'd need to think about the risk. The risk is, again, stress can bring on a lot of risks. If you are going to start a business and you're going to take on a premises, you've got to think to yourself, can I afford this premises? Does it look like my business will potentially make enough money to pay for the premises and the rates and all of the utilities? If you think that answer is no, it's best not to do it. I've got a client who took on a lease for 10 years. 10 years he took it on for. And, I was talking to him the other day and he told me it was the biggest mistake he'd ever made in his life, because the business now is not making any money and he's got 7 years left on the lease. So he's had 3 years, the business isn't making any money, and he's got 7 years left to pay for rent. That's the contract that he signed, and a landlord won't easily let you get out of that contract. A landlord will take you to court and they will fight you for the rest of that money that you owe them, because you signed that contract. So what a good idea is, if you're thinking about taking on any form of contracts with a landlord, ask them for what you call a break clause. So let's just say a landlord says, well, I want you to take on the property for 5 years. Say, that's no problem. Can I have a break clause, please, in year 3? So in year 3, that will tell you whether you are at the place to decide, right, here's my opportunity to opt out and break this contract, or maybe business is booming and you want to carry on after year 3. I spent nearly 10 years in the same premises of my business, but I had an opt-out clause in year 3, and business was booming from the word go, really. And when we got to year 3, it was so busy that I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to opt out. So I just said to him, the landlord, I'm just going to stay. And I stayed another 7 years. So, but you can negotiate a break clause. So just remember that if you don't want to stay too long. But landlords do try and push you to stay as long as possible. And as well, when you are a brand new business, a landlord will push you to wanting to keep you in the building as long as possible, because the longer they can keep you is the more money they're going to make out of you. So your business doesn't have to be hard and long hours, and you're not going to get any paid leave. But like I said, self-employment, however successful your business is, it's going to come down to you. It's all you, nobody else. So if your business is successful, it's you. If it's not successful, it's you. So it just comes down to, and a lot of people that run successful businesses, I'll be honest with you, they have the money to sustain the business. They are the people that have got the money to plow into marketing. They've got the money to employ, the part-time staff that they need. They've got the money and this is why I say you need money. The money is what helps you to do all the things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. If you don't have the money, you can't do all the things that you need to do. And then that creates a big problem and a big stress and a big financial burden in the business. So, think about the money before you start. So here are the skills and qualities that you need. So let me just talk about a sole trader partnership, because, there's lots of people that come to us who want to go into partnership. And a sole trader partnership can be a really good idea. But I would say, if you're going to go into partnership, make sure you complement each other. And don't go into partnership with somebody that you don't trust or you don't know very well. Now, we've seen people that have known each other since childhood and they've gone into partnership and it's not worked. I was talking to someone the other day. The two people are bakers. One makes pastries and the other makes cakes. That's a really nice combination for a partnership. Now, when you go into a sole trader partnership, you both have to individually register for self-assessment. So you name the business, whatever that business name is, but you are now individually eligible to register for self-assessment. So you don't do it once between you, it's separate. Because whatever you earn in that business, those profits are going to be split. Once those profits are split, then you're both going to have to pay tax on your individual profits. That's the way it works. So it's a great idea if you can complement each other. If you can't complement each other, I would say just go it alone. And I would say, because I remember someone came to me and he said to me, there's 5 of us and we all want to go into business with each other. And I said to him, well, how well do you know each other? And he says, well, we've worked on different sites with each other before. We don't know each other personally in that way, but we've all got skills that complement each other. And we've all, he said that we've all worked on different sites. So they didn't really know each other, but they knew of each other. And they decided that they wanted to form a partnership. So I said to him, well, when you form a partnership with people that you don't know very well, you're really getting into what I call a business marriage. And I call it a business marriage because you're going to need to get a solicitor to draw up a contract between you. That's your covenant between each other. And you're now obligated to each other within this business. You've all got to make it work together. So that's 5 different egos and personalities and characteristics that you're all going to have to deal with. And then I threw another spanner in the works and I said to the gentleman that I was talking to, if at some point one of you decided that you were going to break up in your relationship and your spouse now wanted half of your share of the business, what are you going to do? So that really made him think about, was partnership a good idea? Because he didn't really think this far ahead. So it's always good to get a solicitor involved to draw up the contract, that both of you knows what happens when you're in the relationship in business and also when you decide to bring the relationship to an end. That contract will make things very simple. I was talking to a guy the other day and he was telling me that he started a business with someone who was a little bit older than him. I think he was in his late 20s and the other person was in their late 40s. And they started a business together. And he ended up walking away from the business. There was no contract. He ended up walking away from the business without a penny, and that business was turning over nearly £500,000. And he walked away with nothing because there was no contract. So, it's really important. And, I said to him, well, what made you walk away? He says, I wanted peace of mind. He says, I didn't have any peace of mind. And there was lots of arguments going on and he wanted peace of mind. So he just walked away. But if a contract was in place, it would have been a different story. So it's a good idea that if you're thinking of becoming a partnership, think about all the pros and the cons and whether or not it's something that you believe that you really need to do. So, as a sole trader, you can earn £12,570 without paying any tax. I think when you divide that over 12 months, I think it works out to be about £1,047.50, thereabout, nearly 1,048. So you would then need to make sure that, anything over the 12,570, which is a personal allowance given to you by the government, anything over that, you're going to pay tax on. So if you're going to earn £2,000 a month, £1,047.50 of that is going to be tax-free. Anything over that, that will take you up to, and 2,000 is only just a hypothetical figure I'm giving you, but then you'll just pay the difference on the excess after that. Let me know if that makes sense to you. So that's how it is. Everyone has a personal tax allowance. And if you are a partner, your tax allowance will be individual. So you'll have one and your partner will have one. If there's 4 of you in the business, all 4 of you will have a separate tax allowance. It's not one shared between the 2 or the 4 or whoever. It's individual because you're all being classed as individuals under one business heading. So I'll tell you who uses this kind of model, but they don't use they don't do it as a sole trader. They do it as a limited company. Dentists and doctors and vets. So any company that has a practice, so you've got your law firms that have got practice, you've got your doctors that are in partnership and they've got a practice, you've got your vets, anybody, or accountants, anybody that has a partnership, so they have one name, but then they have lots of different professionals working under the one name. All of those professionals are all self-employed individually under that one name. So they're responsible for their own tax and everything, but you do need one responsible person that's going to get the business registered, and then they're going to add everybody else to it. So one person needs to take the lead on it. So self-assessment can be done online. Again, you've got to reach in fact, let me make it very, very clear, because when I spoke to HMRC this morning, the man made it very, very clear to me. If you earn over £1,000 in revenue, so, this is gross, so not after tax or anything, this is gross. Anything you earn that's over £1,000, you don't need to register until you get to over £1,000 in revenue. When you get to the over £1,000, then you can register for self-assessment. And they made that very clear to me today. So if you're earning under £1,000 in revenue, you don't need to register until you go over that £1,000. And I made sure that I clarified with the gentleman today. And I said, because I said to him, so what if you're earning under £1,000? He says, you don't need to register. But the moment you go a penny over, you've got to get yourself registered. So you can register online for self-assessment, and then you'll get a UTR number. So with the sole trader partnership, your year end is going to come the 5th of April and your year start is going to be the 6th of April. So Esther says, is that 1K per annum? No, it's over 1K at whichever point of your business, not per annum, whichever point of your business. So when I first started my business, Esther, I made over £1,000 within the first week of my business. So if you make over £1,000, you've got to get yourself registered immediately. If you've made under £1,000, so I made that money within the first week. So if I was going to go sole trader, I would have had to get myself registered within the first week. Do you see? So it's not month, it's not year, it's whenever you make it. So if you've started your business, you can backtrack up to 6 months of when you started trading, and anything that you want to claim for, you can actually make your claim from going back 6 months. So let's just say that you started your business in, say, October, September last year, and then you had got to the place where the year was going to end on the 5th of April. So from September last year to the 5th of April this year, so September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, you'd be able to make a claim, because the year starts again on the 6th. And then they give you the opportunity to register your business by the 5th of October. That's a deadline. I always say, don't leave any form of registration or any form of submitting your accounts on the deadline. Don't do it on the deadline. It's dangerous to do that. There's going to be lots of other people that's going to be focused on trying to hit the deadline. So if you're one of them as well, you're going to get caught up in the backlog that's going to happen because everybody left it till the last minute. Don't do that. Try and get your self-assessment forms in, I would say, at least a week to 2 weeks before the end of January. At least a week, I would say. Don't leave it till the 31st of January, midnight. If you do that, you're going to get yourself into a trouble. And if they, give you a penalty to pay, it's going to cost you £100 thereabout. So the next year will start on, so the first year ends on the 5th, and then the next year starts on the 6th, and then it carries on where the second year ends on the 5th, and then the next year will start literally a day later on the 6th. That's the financial year, that is. You do get another opportunity to submit any payments to them. They give you an opportunity to submit payments to them because some people might not earn enough to be able to submit their payments at the specified time. So they give you another date, which is July. So you can pay part of your your tax in July, and then you can submit your self-assessment and pay the other part, excuse me, on the 31st of January. So just make sure that you keep to the date. That's what I would say. So we spoke about a limited company earlier on. If you're going for loans or you're wanting to do business with other businesses, a limited company is a great profile to have because businesses trust limited companies. So if you're going to work with a supplier and you say, I'm a limited company, they're more likely to trust you than if you say, I'm a sole trader. Your account, so your balance sheets, are made public. Everyone can see your balance sheets online. So, decide whether or not that's what you want, or do you want to go down the road of being a limited company? Now, this notion of the rich gets richer, you can see why that occurs, because remember I said earlier on that you will pay 19% tax on your profits. Well, just imagine if you are earning, £100,000, you're still going to be paying, your 19%. There are thresholds that the taxman, tells you that if you earn this, it's going to go to that. And if you earn that, it's going to go to this. But remember, you can put all of this in, well, your accountant will do it because you've got to have an accountant if you've got a limited company. If you're a sole trader, you don't need to have an accountant. So, there's lots of benefits for a limited company, but remember, it's better to go limited if you are going to be earning a good amount of money, over 45,000 within your first year. If it's not that kind of business, then ask yourself, do I need to go limited right now? So when you register a limited company, it costs £12.99. And, you can register as a director. If you're going into a partnership with somebody, remember that I advised that you should get a contract drawn up. Both of you decide whether you're going to have equal shares or not. So some people, like, I'll give you an example. I remember I was talking to a young couple, and the lady's father was very, very wealthy, and they were bringing in her boyfriend into the business, and the father was quite happy to put in the money. And they were going to have a contract drawn up between them, but they were now saying that they both wanted to have equal shares. So her dad was going to, invest the money for them to start the business, but the boyfriend and her were going to have equal shares. So there's cons against that. There's pros and there's cons. The pros is you've got the support that you need to help you to do what you need to do. The cons would be, well, what if you and the boyfriend splits up and he's got equal shares to your company? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So you've got to think about all these things ahead and get the clarification that you need so that you know exactly what you're doing. Because once you sign that contract is set in stone. So the operations that's required, for you to be able to run your business, sometimes you'll find that you'll need IT systems, and it depends on what you're doing. I think every business needs a computer. Not every business needs a CRM system because CRM systems are very expensive. But if you grow to the place where you've got a few people working with you and you're bringing in, at least $500,000 to $1 million, then maybe a CRM system is going to work for you. So decide what the operations are going to be for you, and then decide how it's going to work in your business. So Priyan says, I was looking into startup tech companies and they say we should have 10 million shares. Is this possible? 10 million shares of what, Priyan? Is this as a limited company? I don't know. I've never heard that before. What kind of startup tech company would it be? Because I don't know how you can have 10 million shares. I've never heard that. What kind of startup company would it be? So software, right? Well, software is a multi-million-pound industry when you get it right anyway, because once a lot of people start using the software, then it's going to mean that the business is going to do really well. I had a client who was planning on starting a software business, and he was going to make thousands and thousands within the first year. He was very, very confident about that because it was a software business. So, I'm not going to say that's correct because I've never heard of, 10 million shares, for a limited company. But so I do know that software companies do very, very well as a limited company, and you can make your money really, really fast and quick within the first year. But I'm not too sure about 10 million shares. It just sounds really excessive. Right. So marketing, you're going to need to know who your target market is. You're going to need to know exactly. Yes. So you see, if you're even doubting it, and I doubt it as well, let's put a question mark at the end of that. I think, Priyan. So marketing, it's important that you know who your target market is. I would always say, know who your ideal clients are, know what their pain points are, the problem that they have, and understand how you're going to solve it for them. You're going to help them get the results that they want. That's going to be really, really important. We do have the marketing webinar. Do go and have a look at the marketing webinar. I deliver that quite a lot alongside the content marketing webinar. Those two webinars are very popular. Without marketing, you will not have a successful business. You've got to be marketing in the background to keep bringing the work in, to keep bringing those leads in so that you will keep having income coming in. So, you know, marketing is a huge part of why and how you need to set your business up. You cannot set your business up and not market. You've got to market, because if you don't market, how are you going to bring in the sales? How are you going to do it? So decide on who your target market is and look at your target market as the umbrella. Now, when you drill right down underneath that umbrella, that's where you'll find your ideal client. So your overall target market is not your ideal client. Your ideal client sits under that umbrella of your target market. So you need to know, you know, a lot about them. You know, how do they buy? What keeps them up at night? What really frustrates them? What kind of language do they use? And I don't mean bad language. I'm talking about the types of things that they complain about, what they talk about a lot. That's what I mean. So, and then when you get to know your ideal client really well, you'll know how to stand out from your competition. So think about the business name that you want to use. Is that business name appropriate to what you're going to be selling? There's so many businesses out there. It's really confusing what they do, because you look at the business name and you're thinking it doesn't match with what they sell. So there's a company in Bedford called Bedford Budget Tires. Now, when you have a name like that, a name that's got, you know, the geographical element in it, Google can actually track that. Because if someone's looking for a company that sells tires and that person is in Bedford, Google can, it's a very easy find. You know, the other day I put in cheap tires Bedford, and Bedford Budget Tires came on page 1. So they were clever with how they chose their business name. It spoke and said what it done on the tin. So there was no confusion as to what it does, no confusion at all. So think about the name when you're choosing the name, because the name is what you're going to use to brand your business. And that business name as well is going to, you're going to need to have the email name that matches it. So when we say bedfordbudgettires.com, that's your domain name that you're calling your business. That's the name people put in the browser to find you. Now, if you're going to have an email address, you're going to have info@bedfordbudgettires.com, or it could be support@bedfordbudgettires.com, or it could be help@bedfordbudgettires.com. So think about your name very carefully and just make sure that, you know, people understand what it is. If you've got a name that doesn't make sense, then put a slogan so people know what you do. And earlier on, we'd spoken about the insurance. You need to know what kind of insurance you're going to have, depending on the nature of your business. Product liability is the most popular insurance, and every business owner will need to have product liability. Anything else is going to come after that. So if you're in commercial property, you're going to have commercial property insurance. If you're in the stock market, you're going to have stock market and you know, insurance. If you're in property investment, or, you know, some kind of financial investment, you're going to need an insurance to cover that. There's financial insurances out there that you can use to cover a business that, you know, operates on a big scale financially. So depending on what you, you know, will require, will determine what you need to get. So professional indemnity, this covers professional indemnity. So it protects you when an incident happens due to a professional recommendation to your client. So if you recommend something to somebody and something happens to that person on the basis of your recommendation, then, you know, at least you're covered. If anything happens, you know, they can't blame you because you're covered. Anything that happens and they want to point the finger at you, you just go to the insurance company. If they want to sue you, then, you're going to be covered. And having the relevant insurance for your business is very, very important. I can't stress that enough. So decide if you want to become a sole trader or a limited company. I've explained the differences between the two earlier on. Is there anybody here that thinks they might want to become a sole trader as opposed to a limited company? Or do you think that you'll probably just stick with becoming a limited company? A limited company, you need to think about how much are you going to be earning in your first year. A sole trader, you don't really need to worry about that, but then the risk to you is 100% risk. As a limited company, it's about 50% risk. And as a sole trader, you're going to pay 20% tax on your profits. As a limited company, you're going to pay 19% in corporation tax on your profits. And then think about your legal responsibilities. Now, here's something that I really want you to think about, because whether you're online or offline, if you are collecting people's data, you are going to have to be registered with the Information Commissioner's Office and get yourself registered for data protection. That's how you're going to have to do it. Thanks for letting me know that, Esther. So that's what you're going to have to do. And you can go to the gov.uk website and put in ICO or register for GDPR. And even if you're only collecting someone's email, you've still got to register for GDPR. If you're only collecting their name, you've still got to register for GDPR. So, and it's really important to note as well, if you've got a website, make sure that you've got your terms and conditions, your refund policies, and your privacy policies, including at the bottom of your website. All of these things are your legal responsibilities. So your domain name, like I said earlier on, if you decided that you wanted to, check out if your domain name's available, you can. It's a good idea as well. Whatever name you're going to call the business, go on Companies House and put that name in, and then see how many people are already named that. And if someone's already got the name, then you're not going to be able to use it or register it. So domain names, make sure you check it out just to make sure that you're not overlapping with anybody else. Trademarks can cost you anything from $250 and it can go up to $350 and $450. It depends on where you go to trademark whatever it is. You can trademark your logo, a particular design that you may have, a slogan. You can trademark a word that you use. You can almost trademark anything. But you need to make sure that no one else has the trademark. So, there are websites where you can actually check. So you've just got to make sure that you're compliant. I shared the story with you of what happened with those two restaurants. So if you're thinking of trademarking anything, I wouldn't wait. If you're definitely sure that you're going into business, I would go ahead with the trademark, because you just don't know. So Richard is saying, where can we access the recording, and which webinar would you recommend after this? Richard, I would recommend, where are we? This is how to look at the finance and bookkeeping. Have a look at that one. The pricing one as well is a good one. And the marketing one. I would say those. Yes, I did say the marketing one. Richard, did I speak to you earlier on today on live chat? Was it you that I spoke to? I can't remember. I spoke to someone on live chat today, and they told me that they were going to be on this webinar. Oh, okay. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, Richard. You'll definitely get a copy of the slides and everything, so don't worry. So here's an invoice of, you know, when you're writing up an invoice and you need to submit it to a client. If you are a limited company, you've always got to make sure that your company's registration number goes down. And if you are VAT registered, that's also got the number for that has also got to be on your invoice as well. So you can use this template. This is a template for yourself. If you need to have one, you could use this one. Bookkeeping, QuickBooks and Sage, I would say, are great pieces of software that you can use. You can download that from the Apple Store, or your whatever store you're going to download it from. Anything I need, because I've got my Apple phone, I can always go to the Apple Store and download it there. So they're pieces of software. You can get them, they're apps, you can get them on your mobile phone, and you will need to impute your income and expenditure just to keep good records of your accounts. So it's a good thing to do to keep your books up to date so you don't run into any problems. And your accountant will like that as well. So, keep good records. One of the things that I did when I first started, I had a folder with 12 Polly Pockets in. So everything that I spent in each month, because I named those folders from January right down to December, 12 months, and I put the year. Everything that I spent in each month, I would put it in each Polly Pocket. This way I was able to keep good records to submit to my accountant. And he absolutely thought it was great because, all the receipts and everything went in the one pocket, depending on which month I spent it in. So it's down to you to keep good records. Here are some bookkeeping packages that you can actually use. That's going to help you. As I said, QuickBooks is one of them. Sage is another. If you're running an educational business, Sage is very good for that. So, think about these because you might need them in your business. Now, in terms of being VAT registered, you don't need to register yourself until you exceed £85,000, and that's revenue in your business. So once you get to the £85,000 mark, that's when you're going to get VAT registered. And remember, you are only an agent, a collector of the VAT, because the VAT belongs to the government. So, if you've got to the 85,000 revenue and you sign up for VAT, whatever you collect at 20% has to go back to the government. So ways of thinking of how you're going to raise your finance. Here's some ways of how you can raise the finance. If you do go to a bank to borrow any money, I'll be honest with you, you're looking at 6% on your startup loans. So, if you borrow 10,000, 6% on that is going to be quite a bit to pay back. So, and this is why I say, if you don't have the money right now to start your business, wait until you've got the money. That way you're going to make life a lot easier for yourself. So, think about where you're going to get the money from. And here's a to-do list, so decide on whether you're going to register as a sole trader, buy a domain name, or whatever it is that you're going to do. But this would be a great list for you to work through to be able to help you to achieve the best results that you can in the startup phase of your business. So this is what we've covered so far. And this is a summary of what we've spoken about. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's something, business is something that you've got to stick with and know your why and be determined to succeed. And these are just some useful links right here that I think is going to benefit you moving forward in your business. So you're going to get a copy of all these slides and the PowerPoint as well. So if you can actually just get your phone up and scan this QR code, if you got quite a lot of value out of today's webinar, we are now at the end of this webinar, then you can scan this QR code right here and give me some feedback on, you know, how you found this webinar. That would be great to know how it's gone for you. And can you see that there's lots of information that was delivered today that you can actually apply directly to your business. So I want to take this time out now just to say thank you to Curtis, Locke, Maria, Paz, Priyan, and Richard for being here today. So thank you so very much. I wish you all the best in your business. And if you would like to book an appointment with me in order for me to go through your business with you, then you can do so on at info@wenta.co.uk. So Curtis is saying, I'm on my phone watching, so cannot scan, but thank you. You're so very welcome, Curtis. So you can go to info@Wenta. I'll just quickly put it in, info@wenta.co.uk. That's where you can book an appointment for me to do a deep dive in your business and, you know, just find out what's going on and just help you to, you know, get the business moving. So Maria says, no worries. Thanks a lot. This has been an insightful talk. I found it inspiring and loads of takeaways to work on. That's great. Thank you so much, Maria. Curtis says, got that. Thanks. And you can do, you can do a deep dive. Well, book an appointment, Curtis. And let's do the deep dive. So Priyan says, perfect. Thank you very much. You're so very welcome, each one of you. Well, have a great rest of the week anyway. And I hope to see you on the next webinar. So Locke says, I mentor and do one-to-one consulting with a small business owner with microfunding loan, pre-post TA nonprofit entity. And thank you. You're so welcome. Okay, take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.